Down by 2 with 10 seconds left, Steph attacks the lane with AD on his hip. He then pulls off a sweet crossover to shake him off. But look closely right here. AD clearly grabbed Steph's shorts here to stop his momentum, but instead of calling a foul, the refs went full Stevie Wonder mode, looked the other way around as Steph lays it in. I mean, that could have easily been the game winner if that was an and one, because there's just no way the greatest shooter on earth would miss that possible free throw. Well, as we all know, that didn't happen, and 2 overtimes later, the Warriors found themselves losing by a single point. Ironically, coming from a LeBron James free throw.
James puts it on the floor, drives inside, layup is up, foul.
Now, the thing that I don't understand here is that why did the refs blow their whistles here while they didn't call a foul on Steph's attempt earlier? Like, it's basically the same thing. It happened in the very last possession. There was a slight contact on both attempts, but in the end, Steph didn't get the call and LeBron did. I thought the refs were letting the players play on this one. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like there's something fishy going on here. Because if we're going to take a closer look at the box score, the devil is in the details all along. I mean, the refs awarded the Lakers 43 free throw attempts in that ball game, as opposed to the Warriors, who only got 16. That's almost 3 times the Warriors shot the ball in the foul line. And what's even more absurd is that Steph Curry, who took 35 shots in that game, in which 14 came from inside the arc, only got 3 free throw attempts, with the first one coming from a technical foul. Meanwhile, Austin Reeves, who only took 14 shots in total, 7 from the inside, was rewarded with 9 free throw attempts. I don't know, but this is looking like a highway robbery in broad daylight to me. The free throw discrepancy in this game caught the attention of many Dubs fans, and as expected, a lot of them were heated with how the NBA is treating their team. But when reporters asked Steve Kerr about his thoughts on it, he just hilariously trolled them and said,
"You made sure to just kind of note.
Sorry?
You just made sure to note their free throw attempts. Is that? I mean, they obviously are the more physical team, but did you feel like that's what tilted the game?"
I might comment on the free throws that they shot, but my mom is here right now, and I want to be on my best behavior. So
now, while Steve Kerr took the sarcastic route, Steph, on the other hand, was more straightforward and also a bit confused about the biased officiating.
Tonight is just one of those where it's just not consistent, and that's the most frustrating part. There's probably like 3 plays I was involved in where it just a clear bad call in the sense of giving guys unnecessary free throw attempts, and then on the other end, contact or plays that just they look the other way for whatever.
So, how did it all come to this? Why does the NBA keep allowing this to happen? Well, the first thing that you got to know is that while the NBA is considered to be the world's #1 basketball league, at the end of the day, it's still a business. In the last couple of seasons, the league regularly and continuously tweaks its rules to make games more competitive. And on top of that, they've also been adding innovative stuff, such as the in-season tournament, to make their product more appealing to their target audience. But more importantly, to their media partners. Although there's no concrete news about their next TV deal, reports have been saying that every big conglomerate wants a piece of the pie. And this includes some of the biggest digital streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, and others. Now, with that being said, the NBA could possibly end up with a whopping $75 billion for their next media deal, according to reports. That's a lot of dough to make everyone happy. But you might be asking, where do the Warriors fit in all this? See, when Joe Lacob and his group bought the Warriors back in 2010, the team was sold for just $450 million. Now, I know $450 million is a whole lot of money, but after Steph arrived, revolutionized the game from the three-point line, and dominated the NBA by winning several championships, the Warriors' valuation has skyrocketed to crazy levels. And now, 14 years later, the Dubs are reportedly worth $7.7 billion, making it the most lucrative franchise in the NBA today. The Warriors' success over the years has not only increased the team's value, but also benefited the NBA in a huge way. But after dominating the last decade, the NBA feels at this point that the Warriors already reached its peak and is now on a decline, which is why the league is now looking for quote-unquote other channels to generate profit. In other words, the Golden State Warriors are not the NBA's golden boy anymore. And so this is the reason why they did what they did in the Lakers game. And actually, prior to that, the NBA was already doing the Dubs dirty with no one noticing. See, on the night of January 25, the Warriors hosted the Kings during the NBA's Rivals Week. The game was nationally televised, and as expected, the game was intense from tip-off and went down to the wire. Now, in terms of free throw discrepancy, everything seems fair on the surface, with the Dubs actually having more free throw attempts than the Kings. However, if you take a closer look at the box score, you'll realize that the NBA has robbed the Warriors yet again. I mean, in that game, Steph took 26 shots overall, with 12 coming from inside the arc. Now, take a guess how many free throws he got. 1. At first, I was thinking, maybe Steph wasn't just aggressive enough, or maybe he wasn't really getting any contact, which is why the refs swallowed their whistles. However, after taking a look at the tapes, frame by frame, I conclude that they really did Steph dirty here. See, here's Steph driving against Werder. The refs didn't blow their whistles even though it's a clear hand check. Then, during Steph's attempt, Werder tagged him on the follow-through, but once again, the refs turned a blind eye. Example number 2. Keegan Murray not only nudged Steph from behind here, but also clipped him as he was about to drop the floater. Quinones and Kenny Atkinson were up in arms from the bench asking for a foul, but once again, no call. Then, in this play, Curry drives past Sabonis. Monk was on the help and clearly hacked his arm and made a lot of contact. Because of that, Steph tumbles to the ground going out of bounds. No call was made. Lastly, here's Steph going all the way to the cup. Murray clearly nudged him from the back once again. Steph felt the contact, then pleaded to the refs afterward, and you know what already happened next. In the end, the Warriors lost that game by a single point once again. I mean, if the refs gave Steph at least 2 free throws out of the 4 clips that I just showed, maybe we're not having this conversation after all. See, this was not the first time that the NBA did this to the Warriors. If you remember last playoffs, the Warriors and the Lakers faced in the Western Conference semifinals, and in Game 1, the Lakers were rewarded with 29 free throw attempts as opposed to the Warriors, who only got 6 attempts. And after digging deeper into that series, I found out that the Lakers shot 160 free throw attempts across 6 games, while the Warriors only got half of that with 80. I mean, Games 1 and 4 of that series were decided by 5 points or less. So if the refs' calls were a bit more favorable to the Dubs back then, it's possible that it wouldn't be as lopsided as it was. And to be quite honest, there's actually a realistic chance that the Dubs could have beaten the Lakers if the free throw discrepancy weren't that blown out of proportions. Anyway, luckily for the NBA, their evil plan is not that obvious because the Dubs are shooting themselves in the foot right now as they're struggling really badly this season. But even so, they're really trying their best to put the Warriors out of their misery through bad officiating. And although they might get away with it, the Dubs just exposed their secret plan. And this doesn't look good for the NBA. What do you guys think about this? Does the NBA secretly want to sabotage the Warriors? And why do you think the refs suck when officiating Warriors games? Let me know your thoughts on this by putting your comments down below. And until then, I should see you in the next video.